There, I fought an astronaut of war. The video you are watching is a demonstration by the Chinese Air Force Aerobatic Team. The so-called August 1st is their name, which is a tribute to the founding of the Chinese Communist Party. They have already performed over 500 shows. Previously, they had the MiG-17, the Chinese version of the MiG-17, and now they are using the J-10 here. That presentation you saw was in Thailand. I will show some more scenes. Then I want to make some quite interesting comments about China's development and its relationship with Brazil. So, let's continue watching the demonstration of the Chinese Smoke Squadron.
A demonstração aí da Esquadrilha da Fumaça Chinesa. Bom, pessoal, antes de continuar, deixa eu fazer parênteses aqui para vocês pensarem.
Well, folks, before continuing, let me make a parenthesis here for you to think a bit about life. This book here is about industrial techniques, medicine, aeronautical construction, etc. It's a book from 1973. It covers everything from steel-making techniques like the Bessemer converter to extremely complex things like the turbine of an F-104 jet. The book is 52 years old. If you look at this German book and flip through it, you'll see that most of the photographs, illustrations, and articles refer to German, American, British, and French technologies.
Americanas, britânicas e francesas. Não há nenhuma menção à China nesse livro.
There is no mention of China in this book. We need to remember that in 1973, China was still essentially an agrarian country. Very well. 50 years later, if this book were made today, it would probably be dominated by information about China. So, let's keep watching this video a bit more, and then I want to make some more remarks about China's industrial progress. Let's continue watching their squadron's display.
Vamos continuar vendo a exibição da esquadrilha deles.
Hey, anyone who watched that video noticed China's progress. We're planning to release a video on that day about the Chinese taikonaut, the female taikonaut. Taikonaut is what they call astronauts. Americans call them astronauts, Russians call them cosmonauts, and the Chinese call them taikonauts. But I'm going to show you this photo that appears on the screen, which is interesting. It was taken in 1976. The person there is hard to recognize because a lot of time has passed. It's Eduardo Suplicy, who is now a state deputy here in São Paulo. And Brazil opens relations. I know the history. Brazil opens relations with China in 1975 during the Geisel government. And in 1976, Suplicy visits China. That's the photo you're seeing there. 50 years ago, at the time when Suplicy visited China, the Chinese GDP was half of Brazil's GDP. Today, it is 8 times larger. I think if he went to the same place, he wouldn't recognize how China has changed in these 50 years. Then some people will say, but the Chinese worker is a slave. They're not. You can see on the screen the difference in per capita income between the Chinese and the Brazilian. So folks, we need to start rethinking Brazil because we are falling behind. China surpassed Brazil a long time ago. It's been decades since their GDP has been 8 times larger. The per capita income too. They are surpassing Brazil in all numbers already. But other countries are starting to catch up with us. And Vietnam is one of them. Vietnam will soon surpass Brazil in several indices. They are advancing rapidly. The countries of Asia, they are advancing rapidly. Why? Because they focus on a developmental culture. So they build roads, build ports, build airports, invest in entrepreneurs, in education, in infrastructure, etc. And when you try to build a road, you can't because an entity intervenes. No, you can't build a road here. You want to explore oil. You can't because Obama doesn't allow it. And instead of focusing on these issues, on developmental issues, we get caught up in this stupid left-right fight, as if one side were right, as if one side were better than the other. And we're just falling behind. The Chinese laugh at all of this. They call these ideas of ours, especially these woke ideas, more white left. But I think that doesn't lead anywhere. They've left that behind a long time ago. We need to rethink Brazil, folks. I saw the other day someone saying, oh no, but with cryptocurrency I earned so much with this, so much with that. Yes, but you can't eat cryptocurrency. That's the whole problem. The Chinese have goods to sell. I mentioned the case of a store here in São Paulo that sold 50 lighters for $35, 0.70 cents each lighter already placed here in Brazil. Imagine how much that costs in China. Why? Because they have an entire infrastructure, a scale of production that significantly lowers the product's cost. The Chinese can afford to refuse cryptocurrencies. You can't afford to refuse their goods because you need them to sell, and the United States is starting to realize that. So I think that's the lesson we take from the video. The pursuit of industrial development. The Chinese model is certainly not the ideal model for Brazil, in political terms, etc. Just as the Russian model isn't, nor the Iranian model, but the American model even less so. And the European model doesn't either. We need to discover a model suitable for our culture, suitable for our traditions, suitable for our values, but that allows for development. Why? Because the model we are adopting here today no longer allows for development. We will become an increasingly poorer country. Poverty brings violence, and the consequences for future generations will be quite dire if we don't start rethinking the country. I remember that in 1973, Brazil grew by 11% per year. We had Chinese growth. Brazil was the China of 1973. That's the truth. And we lost our way. I think the time has come for us to find our direction towards progress, development, and a better distribution of income in the country to improve social conditions. So that was our video for today. I'll leave you with the intro for the course we're going to do now, the Stealth Technologies course. And there's also our bookstore. For those who want to purchase books from Amazon, you help the channel. We also have our course school. I'll leave the intro. If people want to help our growth, contribute with super stickers, super chats, or pics, which can be found in the video description. We'll be back shortly, always with responsibility and commitment. And faith in Brazil, folks. See you later.
Compromisso e fé no Brasil, pessoal. Até mais. Bom, gente, na Amazon vocês acham diversas obras sobre a China.
Well, folks, on Amazon you can find various works about China, but I want to highlight this book by Sonia Bridi, a Brazilian journalist who lived in China with her family. It's interesting because she shows scenes of everyday Chinese life. It's worth getting to know to start understanding the mindset that prevails in that country. Another very good recommendation is this one, China, by journalist Ricardo Jeromel. This book takes a different angle, focusing on business and economics, and it even shows how Chinese companies internationalize. And to complete the trilogy, China, Socialism and Development, 7 Decades Later, by Elias Jabbour, which tells the entire history of China, from Mao's victory in 1949 to the present day. These books are on Amazon's wish list. And every time you buy books and other items through the channel's wish list, which is in the description, you are supporting the ARTE DA GUERRA channel.
Se encontra aqui na descrição, vocês estão ajudando o canal Arte da Guerra.
Catriona Zanato.